Okay, so we're on Chapter 10, Lesson 6. Our essential question is still, how are fractions and decimals related? So that's the important skill to understand as we continue through this. Oh, we're on page 663. Okay, so Denny walked 3/10 of a mile to the post office. Then he walked 5/100 of a mile to the grocery store. How far did he walk in all? Write the answer as a fraction with a denominator of 100 and as a decimal. So we've talked in class about how we can't add fractions until they have common denominators, but we have learned a really easy way to find common denominators when we're looking at multiples of 10. So the short way to do this is to just tack a 0 onto here, and then you can add them on the top and bottom. But I want to make sure that you really follow with the models, because that's the part. It's really easy to add on the zeros, add them up, and get your answer. But understanding why that works is something that is really important for us to make sure we get. So let's look at our model. And they've already shaded in the 3/10 here. And then they just copied it down here. So this is 3/10 as well. But then we're adding on 5/100. So now I'm going to go and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we've got our 5/100 there as well. So we've got 30/100 plus 5/100, which would be 30 plus 5 over 100. So then our answer here is going to be, if you said 35, you got it right. Think 35/100 as 35/100. So 35/100 equals 35/100. Remember, if the fraction is written, it will be read exactly the same as the decimal version. So 3/10 plus 5/100 equals 35/100, or let's write 0.35. And since it goes out to the hundredths place value, we'll rate it 35/100. And that's how that example is done. And that's how most of the examples in the lesson are also done. We're just converting it into all the denominators into hundredths, and writing the fraction over 100th and converting it into the decimal. That's how those are done, and that's how your book work will also be done. And please, 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 I know this might feel tedious to you, but I want you to shade in the models. So this is going to be the 2/10, this is going to be the 37/100, and then what do they combine to make over here? It's really important that you actually are able to visualize this very clearly, because when you start moving around and manipulating decimals and place values, really understanding this is going to help a lot with being able to solve those more complicated problems as you continue on through school and get into more complicated maths. So please make sure you do these, even though you know what simple step to add onto these to get your addition equation. Please do those. Okay, and the problem solving has a fun one. These are pretty much exactly what you've been doing, except for you have to write your complete sentence answer here, and you have to do the same operation. But this is kind of fun. If you have 3/10 and your sum is 41/100, what has to be over here in order to get from 3/10 to 41/100? So that is a tricky little problem there that you can sort out. Just remember, you need to convert this fraction to being over hundredths before you do anything else. Okay. Refer to exercise 15. Explain to a friend or classmate how you found the unknown. So what did you do in order to be able to find that missing? One option is to subtract. Another is counting on. So those are the words you're going to use in order to write your explanation here to somebody who doesn't understand all the work that we've done. Okay. How does place value help when adding 1/10 and 1/100th? Well, basically we know we've got our decimal and we've got a tenth and 100th, right? So if we're adding 1/10 and 1/100th, how do we fill in those digits on our, this could be a place value chart just like that. So this, having this will help you figure out what goes where when we're finding those answers. And this is one that you should, during your math time, you should have time to get into the homework and be doing some of those. So make sure you are continuing on into the homework if you haven't reached your time limit for the day. I was looking over the homework and it's just the back side, so these are pretty much exactly what you've done in the other work. Then you get to number 7 and they've got this wacky one here. Just remember that if your numerator is greater than your denominator, that's going to be a mixed number. That's an improper fraction here, and that is not modeled here because you would have several of the whole grid shaded in order to represent something that is greater than 10/10. So don't get tricked by that one because it has a numerator that is greater than the denominator. I just wanted to point that out. And thanks for all your hard work. Keep going and keep learning.